the
UFOs?
Yeah. Did you see the New York Times broke this story where they spoke with people briefed? So I have that. So people who've been briefed on the report are giving us a preview of what it's going to say. This is from the New York Times from a few hours ago. Quote, American intelligence officials have found no evidence that aerial phenomena witnessed by Navy pilots in recent years are alien spacecraft, but they still cannot explain the unusual movements that have mystified scientists and the military, according to senior administration officials briefed on the findings of a highly anticipated government report, close quote. So in other words, we can't find any evidence that it is alien spacecraft, but on the other hand, we don't know what it is.
It sounds like a soft backpedal.
Yeah, in other words, I know you can't disprove a negative, but in other words, you have no evidence that they're not. In other words, that absence of evidence is not evidence of absence.
Yeah, the only real way that you can say that it's absolutely not is if you can identify exactly what it is.
Yeah, and effectively what the senior administration officials briefed on the findings are saying is, well, it ain't ours. That's the one thing that they are saying.
When they say ours, they mean
human beings. No, they mean the U.S. military.
Right.
So I don't know if that is if that'll stop the worldwide panic that's about to ensue.
With your vast and superior international knowledge of things and other countries, do you see any other country that's put forth any sort of real effort to create anything remotely like this?
Russia has been pretty serious about it for years and years and years, but on the other hand, they would be the absolute last people to test it in the air off San Diego.
Well, unless they're not testing it.
Unless they're using it. No, it serves no purpose to show us a technology that they may have. It just is not how they work. Also, by the way, the United States and Britain are very open these days to acknowledging, especially these past 5 years, about acknowledging unexplained phenomena and all that. Of course, in the 50s and 60s, pilots had their careers ended if they came back and reported, certain stuff. By the 60s, the Air Force took it very, very seriously and began the famous Operation Blue Book or Project Blue Book. They closed it in I think the late 80s, something like that. The UK has a bunch of odd incidents that are still open. And things like that. But I'll tell you what, man, no other country will even acknowledge it. The rumors that come out of Russia about the 60s and 70s and 80s they're rumored to be rumors. But former Soviet Air Force guys are now finally coming forward saying, hey, what you saw, we saw. We thought it was you guys. So obviously, in the Soviet Union, there was a absolute ironclad lid that got clamped down on anything like that.
And we've seen in the last, I even want to just say the last year, but specifically, I guess, say 3 to 5 years, we've seen more and more people that have been kind of coming out a little bit more, Air Force pilots or just pilots in general, that have kind of, like you say, kind of acknowledged the UFO aspect of things. And with this sort of governmental report coming out, regardless of what it says, do you see that as a strategy of diversion, just a new way of doing it, rather than saying, don't say anything?
You mean a way to let us down easily or
something? Yeah. Or a way to satisfy the itch a little bit just by kind of saying we don't know when they do know more.
I think that if they did know more, I think now would be the time to say it. But by saying it's not ours, is that's what's kind of curious to me about that.
And to even see Obama kind of come out and kind of dance around with a little bit.
Yeah, he said that on with James Corden, last month he said, Obama said, quote, what is true, and I'm actually being serious here, is that there is footage and records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are, close quote. And he's talking about that Navy footage, which, for me, when that Navy footage came out, that is beyond credible. When you have, Bobby Sue swamp gas in Pennsylvania, who couldn't pick a Concorde from a 747 on a good day anyway, trying to, swearing, absolutely. I know, I can't explain that. And I would always say, I bet you I can. But so to get naval aviators and the raw data of their heads-up display, the recording, that really convinced me that, okay, that's not faked. That's not CGI. And
you were completely skeptical before?
Up to that point, but then when you see, the fuzzy pie plate on a string, and all that,
right.
Then you see those onboard sensors, and the guy is going white hot, black hot, white hot. It's so you're seeing this object in the sky, and it's cold, and it's and then hearing their reaction. These are guys who make their living in the air, and they can't explain what the hell the thing is.
I gotta say, when I saw that what was a year ago or a few months ago or so, that definitely made me go, okay.
Yeah. So, and also, by the way, the military didn't, they didn't throw them under the bus. The film came out, it was FOIA. These guys were distinguished careers. One of them was retired already and all that. Then he went on to say, hey, the guy on 60 Minutes 2 weeks ago or last Sunday, who said there were some days where these things were all over the place. So,
wow.
All right, so more revelations about this when we get back. The Pentagon set to release this report, but it's been leaked today. The Are We Alone report, or whatever they're going to call it, I don't know. Bryan filling in for Tim Conway Jr., KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. So the Drudge Report has picked up this New York Times story about people briefed on the UFO report are leaking to the New York Times, and so Drudge has it as their new headline. And this is I guess where maybe this is circular reasoning, but American intelligence officials have found no evidence that aerial phenomena witnessed by Navy pilots in recent years are alien spacecraft, but they still cannot explain the unusual movements that have mystified scientists. The report concedes he skips forward. The report concedes that much about the observed phenomenon remains difficult to explain, including their acceleration, ability to change direction and submerge. One possible explanation that the phenomena could be weather or other research balloons does not hold up in all cases, the officials said, because of changes in wind speed at the times of some of the interactions. I don't think it hold up at all in any of them. But if you haven't seen the one that Michael Kirsch and I were talking about, or a couple of them, where they're clearly not behaving like any known aircraft known to man. They don't have an apparent propulsion source, and they don't have a conventional way that we know of to generate lift. And then on top of that, they are moving, they're rapidly changing direction, like in 90-degree angles, 90 degrees off their axis, or their in the one case, and Michael Crusher, did you see the one where, as the guys are describing it, it was the flying Tic Tac, and it actually sort of went end over end a little bit? Have you seen that one?
Yes.
That's the one where, and it's still going at several hundred miles an hour. So that's kind of what you lose in a perspective is the Navy guys are tail chasing it. And as it's propelling through the atmosphere, it's sort of going end over end. Like if you threw a Tic Tac and then filmed it in slow motion, almost. So it's funny they're saying, well, there's no evidence that it's an alien craft. All we know is we have absolutely no way of explaining how it flew like that. The final report will also contain a classified annex. The officials said, while that annex will not contain any evidence concluding that the phenomena are alien spacecraft, the officials acknowledged that the fact that it would remain off limits to the public was likely to continue to fuel speculation and all that. More than 120 incidents examined in the report are from Navy personnel. The report also examined incidents involving foreign militaries over the last 2 decades, and those are mainly NATO. intelligence officials believe at least some of the aerial phenomena could be experimental technology from a rival power, most likely Russia or China. Except that they, as I said, they have been seen very, very close to the continental United States, where they have now been detected. And it just that's the part where all your UFO experts and all that together, they're missing one big thing. And that if there is a hallmark to Russian weapon development behavior, it is the secrecy, the absolute secrecy. Just like, believe it or not, when we want to keep a secret, we can keep a secret. The stealth fighters were developed virtually completely out of public view, and I think Jimmy Carter, for his re-election in 1979, I think he actually revealed that the United States is working on that technology, but there was no, that fueled all kinds of speculation of what it would look like. Revell had a model. I had the model.
So did I.
Remember with the rounded edges?
Yep.
And they called it the F-19 pancake and all that. And that was based on Tom Clancy. In one of his novels, he portrays, he speculates about the stealth fighter, and he has a very round shape, rounded wingtips and all that. So when it was first used in combat in 1989, bombing some of Noriega's barracks in Panama for Operation Just Cause, or as its participants called it, Operation Just Cause. For the first time, what it looked like was revealed to the point now where it's, and sort of in public, eye. If you saw one, you would know what it was. But we kept that secret for a long, long time. Plus, there's other aircraft that sometimes fly out of Palmdale that nobody knows that we have. They fly out on moonless nights, so you can't see their shape, and they go or then they fly out of Air Force Plant 42. They're at Palmdale. And get right to it. We can keep a secret when we want to, but so can the Russians, and so that's why it doesn't pass the smell test that either China or Russia would have this technology and then effectively announce it by being detected off San Diego, or the other guy was talking about the East Coast, that there were some days on the East Coast that. They were there all day long. So I don't know. It's Navy pilots were often unsettled by the sightings. In one encounter, strange objects, one of them like a spinning top moving against the wind, appeared almost daily from the summer of 2014 to March of 2015, high in the skies of the East Coast. Navy pilots reported to their superiors that the objects had no visible engine or infrared exhaust plumes, but that they could reach 30,000 feet and hypersonic speeds. So then the guy who told New York Lieutenant Ryan Graves, an F-18 Super Hornet pilot, was with the Navy for 10 years, told the New York Times, quote, "These things would be out there all day. 12 hours in the air is 11 hours longer than we'd expect." Close quote. In late 2014, a Super Hornet pilot had a near collision with one of the objects, and an official mishap report was filed. Some of the incidents were videotaped, including one taken by a plane's camera in early 2015 that shows an object zooming over the ocean waves as pilots question what they are watching. There's one theory that I sort of respect the guy who put this forward, that maybe this is an American technology to spoof a sensor system, and that in reality, physically, those things are not really there. Except that the pilots were seeing them visually. They were spotting them with their balls come eye to each in daytime, and then they were confirming it on their sensors. So it's not like this is purely fueled by that sensor video. So I'm agnostic. I used to be, I was a UFO skeptic. I was a skeptic of the people who, with their imprecise, witness accounts. But, I mean, you have to be really, really bad at math to not figure out, big universe, little world.